And good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on into the Dragon's Den. I hope everybody's doing well today. Hopefully, I won't cough a lot and break everybody's eardrum today, but I am dealing with some not feeling all that great, but we'll get through this. Hope everybody's doing well today. I think this is still somewhat skewed again. There we go. Makes it a little bit better, I think. No, maybe not. So how's everybody doing today? Hey, Mr. Wizix, how's it going? That time of year for yeah, it's allergies and I think it's a cold. Like I've now got the full-on post-nasal drip and starting to get some color. So it's just icky time of year with that season. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. Let's see, where did we leave off? So we left off with a disassembled tool head again, and a partially disassembled printer, and we were printing some more parts. So kind of where we're at right now is I've got the rear box swapped out. I've got the RPi, the Big Tree Tech Pi is back installed. I've got the power going to it tentatively again. And I've got the whatchamacallit plugged in, the UART and power for the Big Tree Tech Pi plugged in. So I did that so that I could bring this up and log into this. Nothing else is connected. So I was able to bring this up and log into it. And I believe I've got camp squared away on it again because I basically reinstalled and reconfigured camp. So that part of it will be solved once we get this redone. Hey, Zombie, how's it going? Yeah, Dragon and Chill. Yep. Hey, Eagle, how's it going? Early for, yeah, a little bit early. It's not for a couple more weeks, but thank you, Eagle. So, a couple of things that I've been working on. One was we were trying to get in some parts. So I ordered 2 of the heat brakes. So we'll have a spare in case we snap one. Hey, Pez Liz, how's it going? You know, it's good that you're here, Liz. We're going to hit a good part of the stream that you're going to like. This is a M4 hardened steel nozzle. Once again, I know I have one of these around here. I have not found this one yet. I know it's around here somewhere. And we got a spare heat block. Now, this is a straight up, quote unquote, virgin heat block. It did not even come with the screw and the washer that you would use to hold the thermistor in place. Well, yeah, we've got a tube of something here on the table. Like I said, something you'll probably like. So we're going to have to reuse this tiny M2 screw. I think it's like an M2 by 3 and washer. It's super tiny. It's like an M2 by 3 or an M2 by 4. So we'll use this to put a new thermistor in. And I had just ordered another set of pins because I couldn't find the pins for the BL Touch that I had bought. Well, then as I was getting ready, I said, well, wait, I'm going to need a thermistor. So I grabbed my little pack of bead thermistors so that we could swap out the one that got damaged. And lo and behold, next to another BL Touch that I have shoved down in the corner was the set of 5 pins. So I was able to cancel the other pins that I ordered. So I've got these. So we've got a pin for the BL Touch. We've got the parts here. I did go ahead and grab some GT2 belt that I had just in case we need to swap these belts out. Now the belts appear to be working fine. The question is whether we wind up sticking with this plate, which right now there's a lot of wobble here. So we're going to wind up taking this, we're going to take it off. The question is whether we put this plate back on, which would be this plate, then this plate, and then our fan and BL Touch combo, or if we swap over to this plate. So right now there's no relief in the back of this for the belts. The belts are just smushed between this plate and the carriage. This will have this is two pieces, but it's got a back plate with the, I'll say the pleats in it or the grooves in it to go with the belts. And you would bring the belts through, overlap them, and you'd put your hot end extruder assembly up here, which basically locks in that top belt. And then the bottom belt has a plate that goes in that will lock that one in place. I kind of like this. There's also a whole duct that goes on the front of this that would wind up being two 50-15 fans. Not sure if I need that just yet. We'll probably use the other one, but I'm leaning towards going to this if we're having to take the front end apart. And by taking the front end apart, we're going to have to start by loosening things up and removing this front plate. And I think what we're going to wind up doing is straight up swapping the existing rail and carriage for a different rail and carriage. And what I found on the other spare rail that I have down here on the bench is I had two different styles of carriage. And when I swapped the carriage with the different style, there was no more wobble. Hey Kenneth, how's it going? Welcome in. Hey Timor, how's it going? So really, I grabbed additional belt because I may wind up needing to rebelt this if we go to the other one, just so that it has the ability to hold everything in place. And the other thing that I probably should have done was I'm going to need to put some heat set inserts in that. But let's get this rail swapped out real fast. Believe it or not, this is the one time I was hoping that there were hammerheads in here, and there's not. So we may wind up putting hammerheads in here just because it'll be easier than trying to get the so the roll-in T-nuts on these Creality rails, they're loose, so they have a tendency to fall forward. And so, Kenneth, we're doing some upgrades, but we're also doing some upgrades out of necessity. In the case of this particular upgrade, it's more of swapping the rail out because my carriage is pretty loose. And I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell here, but there's movement here on this carriage. There's a lot of movement. So if I just pop that one off and pop this one on, okay, there's not as much, I mean, there's still a little bit of wiggle, but there's not a lot of movement there. I do need to wipe this rail down and actually grease this, but it's overall it's going to give me a better smoother motion and we still don't know per se why the rail went off the. I don't want to say why the rail went off tracks. We don't know why we snapped the hot end, because it happened overnight when I was sleeping. So I don't know why we snapped the hot end yet, and we're still going to have to do some detective work to figure that out. But these are going to come out. We'll use standard hammerhead nuts just because, like I said, these are going to flop around a bit and be hard to deal with. Not that I'm going to enjoy hammerhead nuts any, but we'll put that there. I'll grab some hammerhead T-nuts. So we got that part prepped. So meanwhile, we've got a new set of plates going over here for the top covers. I did cat up the plates, and I'm having to redo it just because I didn't leave enough space. Apparently, the side rails that say I'll say the side support rails or stiffening rails that are the CNC from Additiva, they're a little bit wider than I expected. So I had to cut, like, just for safety, I cut like 3 millimeters off the width, so that they'll slide in there nicely. So we got our glove, we got our lube. You all know what time it is now. We're gonna lube a carriage here. And welcome in, Chewy. Hope you're doing well today. Standard stuff, just mash it down, move the balls through the cycle a couple of times. We'll do this at least twice. So Zombie, are you done with and printing with the black box yet? Or did you just move over to the Kitty because the Kitty came in and you needed to make some room? That should be nice. I'm just going to reuse the rail that we had on there. Actually, let me see if this one's any nicer on the feel. Actually feeling pretty good there. So Okay. Hey, Wilk Allen, how's it going? Yeah, we have the glove on. Now we got the glove off, which means I'm going to get my hand a little sticky, but that's okay. That's okay. I'll get over it. Now, the other thing I'm going to have to do now is find some 2020 rail alignment tools, which I know I have a bunch of them around here. I just need to go find one or a pair. Um, yeah, it was, like I said, I'm not sure what happened, but we snapped the heat brake on the H2 V2S Lite. So we got a new heat brake and we got basically a full new set. So I'll have a spare. So I'm doing pretty good, Chewy. I'm dealing with the beginnings of a cold. The good thing is I go see my doc. Well, I saw one doctor today, which is my 5-year follow-up after my gastric bypass. So I'm now free from that part. And then I go do my annual physical with my regular doctor on Thursday. So I'll get to talk to him about all the gunk in the head cold here going on. And yeah, using your Voron 2.4 stepper motors in your EnderXY would be perfectly fine. Would not be a problem there. Bum, 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 bum. No, this is not the correct set. This would be for smaller, like printers for ants type stuff. There is a designated Voron kit, which should have 2020 MGN 12. Yep. So this is what we would be looking for. All right, there we go. That's on there now. That over there, that over there. So next up, we're going to try and get our new pieces ready to go. Like I said, we're gonna have to put a couple of heat set inserts in here. A couple that will allow us to join these two together. or not join these two together, but give us the ability to put a belt clip on the bottom and then join another piece to the side. This piece, and that would be the front belt clip. And we'll reuse as many of these screws as possible. You see if I can make some room over here real fast for the stealth press. Yep. Y'all probably won't be able to see this part, but just going to press in a couple 3 heat set presses here. There. Hey, Shrimp Father, how are you today? Zany Maker Zach, what's up? Hope you guys are doing well today. The parts I'm using right here were printed in just black ABS. In fact, it's the Galaxy Black ABS that I've been using for Zombies printed parts. I've been trying to use up various blacks that I had here for the electronics section down here, and I ran out, so I just switched over to that Ambrosia matte black that I got from Keela, Print and Play Keela's Way. And so it's going to be almost like looks almost like a dark gray is what it looks like. Got off work, so you're good? Well, that's nice. Yeah, getting off work's always nice. It was weird. The doctor's appointment I had this morning was about 10 minutes from the office, so I did go into the office today, but did not stick around too long before coming back home because, like I said, I'm playing around with getting sick, and I just didn't want to be at the office, and I know I have to be there the next 2 days, at least part of the day, so I'll go into the office tomorrow for a couple of meetings and then come home early and work the rest of the day from home, and then do the same thing on Thursday. But Thursday, I get to start the day off with another doctor's appointment, so that's always fun. Once again, we're going to try and use this this new one, and it looks like those are definitely not going to be long enough. I think these are M3x6s. And I have no idea what size they were suggesting. So I should probably look that up. So this is what I'm working on right now, or what I'm trying to add and put together. So this will be kind of what I'm working on. It's got the dual 5015 cooling fans. I'm not necessarily going to do the front piece. I'm going to focus on just getting this mounted up. So we'll be basically using these rear pieces here to get it mounted. We'll use the existing fan in BL Touch, and then we'll consider swapping over to this. This is kind of what we're going to be putting together here. So we'll get this mounted up. And I think they talk about the size screws to use. Mount H2 V2S, M3x8, X-Carriage assembly, two top, two bottom mount to V2, and then two microprobe mount. Okay, so M3x8s will be used to mount the mount it to the carriage, and then top and bottom will be an 8, and the rear into the H2 V2S will be a 10. 3, 4. Five and 6. Won't need the lock nuts. Yay! Should not need the lock nuts. Oh, in Zombie, I grabbed something I wanted to show you. There's your lane, Zombie. I am thinking that I'm going to do something with the wheels because I'm almost out of black TPU. So I think I'm going to do the respooler TPU wheels out of red, and then switch the other parts over to black so it's not all red. No, so the base machine for this Zany Maker Zach is a Ender 3. The base machine here is an actual Ender 3. And then an Ender 5 Core XY conversion would be like a 0G Mercury 1, which I've built a couple, 3 of those as well. Oh, hello. So what I'm going to do is just kind of see where we were at before on here. See if I can't pull my belts in here to about where they were before. And I'll try and get one side on here. And then we can work on the other side. And this is where I may need to put a longer belt on here. We'll have to see. Because this part right here that I'm putting on is thicker than the other part that I took off. So normally what you'd want to do is bring it in and wrap it over a lot more, but that might be enough right there to get it done. So I just got to make sure that all of my belts line up when I actually tighten them. Make sure that they're going around the things properly, because if not, then we'll have an issue. Just trying to line them up where they were bent before. That makes sense to anyone. And hey, Bexy Beans, how are you? I see you there, Miss Beans. That looks like, oh, my belt just flipped out behind there. And this is where, this right here is the part where I'm saying I might have to switch over to a different, or rebelt this thing. Because I don't think I'm going to have enough to get this tight and then still have belt to pull through. So do the bottom belt first. And don't worry, I will keep these belts. There's other printers that I can use belts for. And I've got various other pieces of belts, so I'll see if any of these are long enough or if I need to get the big boy out. Oh yeah, those aren't going to be long enough. It all kind of depends. Like, did I use this to build a Rook, or did I use this to build a V2.4 or what? So, hey Ozzy, how's it going? Is it worth the money to do the mod? Honestly, at this point, my suggestion to anybody that's wanting to take a Ender and convert it into a Core XY, just do a EnderXY. It'll most likely be a better mod in the end than this. I've never built one. I've seen some that have been built and they look gorgeous. Is it going to be more expensive than this? Probably. I have no idea. I haven't built one yet. Now the quality of the CNC parts on this, I like. It's the fact that I need to do more to it to make it a viable, workable solution. And like I said, all I'm doing is trying to see if any of the existing pre-cut belt that I have are long enough. They're not. So I'm just going to grab the one that I know is going to be long enough because it's a 10-meter length that hasn't been opened up yet. We'll just use that and stop fuddling around here. I'm existing to Bexy Beans. Work is work. We just got realigned under our 7th VP in 4 years. And NRNG, no, it's an Ender 3 next generation, so it's an E3 NG. Cannot remember who did it. Somebody please help me out. Find the link. You should be able to search it on printables, I believe, and bring it up that way. When all else fails, get out the 10-meter length and try when you unravel. Cry even more when you realize that it's not 6 millimeter but 9 millimeter belt. So we are going to have to figure out how to make the other belt work, because that's 9mm belt, which will not work. What are we doing with 9mm belt? It does say 9mm belt on it too, so that's awesome. Let me do one more check to see if I've got more 6mm belt. Ooh, that looks longer. All I'm really wanting to do is make sure that it's longer, and this is definitely longer, so there we go. Okay. Longer belt. Longer belt. Bottom's going to come through here. Around, twist around, you can do it. Nope, okay. How's that working? When you're running belts, make your life as easy as possible. And always, or at least I always try and start off going around the pulley, because going around the pulley tells you that your belt is orientated in the right direction. So you can get your belt going around the pulley where the teeth are lined up on the pulley, you're going in the right direction. Especially you can get your belt to actually go around the darn thing. And always, always, always be cognizant of where your little, how can I put this, your support pillars or braces are, because you never want to have a belt wrapped around a support brace. They need to be going around a pulley and not a support brace. Especially if it's plastic. If it's plastic, whoo, you're going to gouge the hell out of it, number one. And then number two, it's going to it will words on stream. I know I can use words on stream. It will destroy your belts really quick. I've done that before and gone, why are my belts looking so bad? They're looking so bad because you ran them across so many times over straight plastic, and they just shredded. over time. So all I'm trying to do is get the basics, basics of the belt through here. I'll have to worry about making sure everything's properly aligned as I go to tighten it up on the right hand side, but I'm trying to make sure that it's somewhat aligned so I can get the left side set up and tensioned. So there's one side. This will be the top right. These will have to come over here and fight with this side now. And once again, the biggest thing is just getting around the pulley initially. And I apologize, folks. I'm not able to really get a good look at chat at the moment, but let me get this belt wrapped around a little bit and I will get caught up on chat. Okay, so that's the bottom, this is the top. The top will come through here. Also come up and go around here. Okay. Now the big thing is just making sure that I'm at the same, I guess, number of teeth. Exposed on top and bottom over here. Line that up and get that inserted or mounted on here. Hey Waters, how's it going? Um, Making progress, but it's more like 2 steps one step forward, two steps back type of progress, because we've had to rebelt this using, we had to go find another set of belt. We're rebelting it, and I'm just trying to make sure that I'm lined up nicely in all my pulleys so I'm not dragging or going to cause a binding issue. And what I'm going to wind up needing to do here is, we'll have to cut some excess off here, which is no big deal. But it's because I'm using a different mount. I'm going to switch to a different mount that will give me a little bit better, we'll say, overall mounting solution. Why is it? Oh, there we go. Wasn't on the front pulley. Okay, there we go. That seems like it's good. So now what I'm going to do is take the second piece, kind of line it up there, and bring that together and lock this on there with some M3x8s, or not. Stop running away. All right. And we'll take these and cut them flush with the edge of the printed part there on both sides. Snips. I don't think we really need to go any further than the edge there. And the bottom piece has a little printed part that goes down here at the bottom that'll cover up the two pieces of belt. There was one. The other one I dropped down here on the floor. Hey, Hutch Makerspace, how's it going? So that goes there, that goes there. Once again, we can cut this flush with the edge. Same thing with the top one here. And when we put our extruder on here, it'll hold those two pieces of belt in place and kind of clamp them down like so. Until I throw my extruder out. That was interesting. Do I need a couple more of the M3x8s because this will do the top and the bottom. I'll need an M3x10 to come in from the back, and I've got my, I'll say my silver M3x10s are downstairs. The others, I've got black ones up here. Right. Good enough. Line up hole. Insert screw. Insert screw. There's the one. These were the screws I'd used before, so they should be just fine for doing this mount. Okay, so that's the top and the bottom. Still feels a little rickety. I don't know why. I don't know why, unless it's, I don't know, just like so much length away from the um, carriage. I don't know. Yeah, that's gonna have to be a 10, and 8's not gonna do it. Grab the 10s. Okay. So this piece here is going to go on the side. There's going to be an M3x8 that comes in this way, which probably should have been installed prior to mounting that. Um, we'll get it. We'll get her done, one or the other. Still above ground, so good for the day. Exactly. Exactly. Being positive. I'm still alive. I'm still kicking. Okay, so we have that. And the thing I knocked off over there was the fan. I need to get and recover. There we go. This is the extruder hot end cooling fan. We'll go through with 2 screws this way. These are probably going to be way too long now. Yes, that they will be. What are the 3x25s? What are you going to look like here? Twenty might be too much as well. Grab some 18s. Do the fan. And your fan's going in the right direction. Means you should not see a label because the direction of the fan normally goes towards the label. Top, one at the bottom. So Kenneth, this is the BIQU V2S Lite. BIQU V2HS Lite. And this does have several places where you can wrap your zip tie your wires and stuff together. So we will be using that throughout the build here. So we got these 2 on here. We have a spot here to put the whatchamacallit, the end stop. So we'll pop this back off. It says to use M3x5 socket head cap screws for the X end stop. I've got some button head cap screws here I was using because, and they're M3x6, I believe. Maybe longer. Because when I tried to do socket head cap screws, they like the heads seemed like they were too big, but we'll see. We'll give it a try again. We'll try with some M3x6 button heads. Or I'm sorry, not button heads, socket heads. Not fives, but we'll go with it. Yeah, that should work. And these, I believe, are going to screw directly into plastic. Maybe. We'll see. We'll hope. Yep. Screwing directly into the plastic. Now this set of files had a, I'll say, a bump stop for the end stop here. And I need to see if the existing one here works or not, because it actually screws all the way on all four. And this location is going to be too short for this. So that other part. Here's the other part. So the downside here is it goes on all four of the carriage bolts, which will by definition just be a pain in the butt to do, probably. We'll see. Well, maybe not. I kept thinking that there was a that there was probably a that one of these had a pulley on it, but it doesn't. Goes there. This will go right on top of here. And reuse the same screws. Okay. Now, these two things. My 10 button heads. Okay. So this is back on. Does this now come over? And yes, it. Yay! So that hits. Touch. Thermistor wires. In-stock wires. Where is the wire for that? Good question. We'll find it later. Okay, so that part's now done and added on. Um, let's grab some of the other parts that we need to work on, which will be the thermistor parts. So we've got the old heater block here, and we have the old nozzle. We did heat this up and push stuff out of it, so that it should be clean. We can go ahead and put our heat throat on this side and then tighten this down against the heat throat. Our thermistor is seen better days. We're going to toss this thermistor and we'll just put on a new thermistor. Where are we at here? Give me my wire back. There we go. There's the extension that we used, and this is just a standard bead thermistor. So we toss that. We'll grab one out of our other package, and we'll get that going again. Now the question is how to get one out of here without exploding everything, and that worked out just perfectly. So normally what I'll do is I'll buy packages of these, and if I'm testing a board, I'll just take two of these, one in the bed, one in the hot end, and now you can test the board without taking an ADC error, and you can test everything out on the board without having any of your heaters actually plugged in and just be testing the motion system out. So there's a little trick for you if you didn't know. I kind of hate how these get wrapped up. So what I may do here, I think I'll have, yeah, that will it. I was going to try and twist these. Actually, I am going to. I'm going to try and twist these just to make it a little less cumbersome as we're putting it in the cable thing. Let's pop one side out of the JST connector. And we'll just start twisting these. Normally I would have the top clamped into something, but you got to be careful with these wires. They're very, very thin and brittle. And I'm just going through and twisting them by hand. Doesn't have to be a tight twist. I'm not trying to, I'm not doing this for any type of EMI protection. I'm doing this simply to make the management of the wire a little bit easier. So we're just doing a gentle twist, not a major twist here. Guess I should just do something like this. So once again, just a gentle twist. We're not trying to do anything stupid crazy to it. busy, but hopefully I'll start to settle down. Yeah, that's what we're hoping with my work as well. We just got reorg to a new VP and they're already like, oh, we got to brief them this, we got to brief them that, and let's get ahead on this and that. And I'm like, or we can actually focus on getting work done and not just sitting here having meetings and briefing a VP for a metric that is only good the moment it was pulled down. You know? How you doing, Solar? Hope you're doing well. Welcome in. Hey, Westery, how are you doing, sis? Have you guys seen some of the new branding that's going on? I don't have any of the stream stuff done yet just because I'm still working on, well, I'm working on getting stuff. Uh, I've done everything I can from the laptop. I have to bring the files over to the streaming rig down here, and I just haven't had a chance to swap it over yet. So what we're going to do is our thermistor, our bead thermistor is going to sit down in the groove here. So there's a groove and then a screw hole. So the bead thermistor is going to sit in the groove and we'll put a screw in there and that will hold that in place. Now what we're going to want to do is put a little bit of thermal paste on that, and that will one, help keep the bead thermistor in place, and then two, also it will provide better conductivity. And what I've been using, like if I get a hot end and it comes with thermal paste, I may use that. If not, I've been using the MX4 thermal compound, which is good for CPUs and stuff. So I'm just going to squirt a bunch in there. And by a bunch, I basically mean fill the hole up with goop. If you've got some boride nitride from Slice Engineering, then that is a very good option as well to use here. And once again, we've got all right, come on. We filled it with goop. Now we're going to take our bead thermistor and stick it right down in the goop. Spreading our legs apart just a little bit. And now we've got to take this tiny, tiny screw and screw it in to hold it in place. And we need to snug it. We don't need to crank on it, because if you crank on it, you will break your wires. Darn it. I have to get out the iFixit. I'm going to try and do is just get it started. Part of my problem here is that I've got some plastic on the head of that screw. And so what I really needed was a new screw. I just don't have the luxury of a new screw because it didn't come, and I don't have any of these tiny, tiny screws. And this is going to keep messing with me. You need 15 hands and you only have 2. Try and complain. Rip the head of that? Maybe. Let me see if I can get something on the iFixit kit in there. There. Goes over there. Big. I think it's just the fact that I've got filament in it. Either that or it's a weird size screw that doesn't fit anything. Options, options, options. Let me think. Do I have anything I can steal or scavenge from? That screws. Dragon burners and dragons use set screws to compress because they're not using bead thermistor. Da 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 da. We might be stuck. Because once again, this came with just the block. It did not come with the screws. Thermal paste stays well when heated. You like this idea? Never really thought of using thermal paste. Yeah. Well, it does a good conductivity as well. To the linear rail mount, yes. The linear rail mount that I am using is the EnderXY X-Carriage for H2 V2S off of printables. So it is right there in chat. Yep, I have that new intro I need to look at. So oh yeah, there's definitely something in the air, Bexy Beans, because last Saturday when I was streaming, I hit the wall and I just felt like utter crud, and that's why I ended the stream the way I did. And I was like that close to calling off going to the D&D festival on Sunday. Because I wasn't feeling great. Okay, so let me see. Do I have any tiny, tiny M2 screws over here? Not tiny ones that are also short. I know somewhere I have um a brain fart. Somewhere I've got a set of screws for like laptops. That would work. The other thing is the fiberglass tape. We don't have that anymore. So I'm going to actually wrap it up with several layers of Kapton tape. So since we're going to do that, I think what I'll do is just cut some Kapton tape, and we're just going to Kapton tape it in place. And if you guys have ever used Kapton tape, it is very thin and somewhat of a pain to work with, just because it's so thin, it likes to just do its own thing. So you got to kind of be a little bit careful with it. Okay, we got that there. Need to take this in, stick it back in the goop and make it one. And basically, instead of using a screw, I'm going to just tape this whole thing together. Probably want to get that heat throat in first, though. So the heat break gets screwed all the way flush from the top here. Heat break gets screwed in flush from the top. And very lightly work it in there. We're going to take our Kapton tape and once again tape all the way around. Okay, so there's our we've got our heat throat in there. We've got everything Kapton taped together with a couple of layers. And then we're going to take our nozzle and we're going to screw it in until it seats up against the heat break. That's why you want to take the heat break and go all the way down first, because if you go the nozzle in first, you could bottom out the nozzle so you have nothing left to heat tighten with, because we've got to heat tighten this. I am going to give it a little bit of a cold ugga-dugga right now. And then what we'll need to do is right here, let me bring you guys in here. So right in there between, in that small triangle, you see that M3 socket head screw? That's a set screw that locks the heat throat into the extruder. So on our heat throat, we've got this indent here, and that's going to go, we're going to shove this all the way up, and that's going to go into that detent. So we take our 2.5, we'll pull this out. And this gets shoved up in there. And we're probably going to have to bend our wires some to get them out of the way. Line that up. Push it all the way in there. Not there, Luke. I mean, it does go, it will fit there, but that's not where it goes. Okay. Now that heat breaks in there. Now, if I can only remember if it went this way or if it went turned around. So we're going to have to take a look at putting this, what would this look like on here? That fits. Bring these around this way. And once again, we've got places that we can zip tie wires to over here, and then we'll be able to come out the side. Make sure Kapton tape here if I needed it for anything. So this is there. We got this in there. The plan was to reuse this so that we didn't have to go through and redo everything, because the fan mount for this, you see here, uses dual 50-15 fans. So what I'll do is I'll run the existing single fan that we had, and if we have any issues with it, then what we can do is swap over, or if I decide I want to, I can swap over to that other fan. But I'm not sure if you guys can tell here. Actually, do I have the, here we go. So this is the setup that they have here. So they actually moved the Y end stop to the rear and put a block in the front to as a stop block at the end of the rail. I haven't done that. I didn't see the need to do that. I could still do that if I want. I don't have to really mess with things. We've got the carriage here. We've got the H2 V2S now installed on it. Okay. That's interesting because that looks more like a dragon hot end or something on it than the oh wait, this is the, I think this is the H2 V2, not the H2 V2S Lite, but it still works. if we add in the pudgy duct, okay, this is the pudgy duct. So here you've got your 5015 fan. There we go. Okay, and then they use a BIQU micro sensor. I don't have that, and the spacing is going to be way off. That's why I don't want to use this design for the fan. So your bed's calling your name. Not a problem, Royal Nomi. Hope you're doing well this evening. I saw your post, and thank you for getting on old man to go to the doctor. Thank you. What we need to do is open this up and get one of our pins out. And when we open this up to get a pin out, we need to get one pin out and not let the other 4 out in the process. So let's see if we can just work one pin out here. Maybe not. There we go. We got one over there. You can do it. There we go. Here's one of our pins. This is what we're going to be doing next, is taking one of these pins and putting it in our BL Touch. Now there's a couple of things to be aware of when we do this. One is we're going to have to take it off the mount to be able to do this. So when we do that, we got to be cognizant of how many washers and stuff were where in our stack here. So we had a bolt and 2 washers underneath, 1 washer, and a lock nut at the top. Because we've got the spacing and everything, if we mess with that spacing, then we'll have an issue, and we'll have to go back and redo all of our our Z offsets and stuff. And I prefer not to have to go through and redo all that stuff if I didn't have to. There's one. And we'll get the other one going. There's the second one off. Now this is where we've got to be mindful of what goes where. Get those nuts right on there again. Because what we've got to do is take this center screw out. And it's a it's a whatchamacallit. It's like a set screw. Bigger than 1.5. Is it a 2? 2 millimeter. And okay. We'll turn this upside down, and that pen should just drop straight out. Drop those. So just like that. There's the broken pen, and there's the new pen. You can see the little tip that broke off there. So we'll throw that away. We'll drop this back down in from the top and make sure it falls through, which it does. We'll have to put our piece back in. And it's, what I'm understanding is it's critical that you get it to the same spot. Because if you're not at the same spot, then the adjustment on your trigger will be off. I don't necessarily get it, but I'll go with it. Stack those back on, so we're 2 washers on each side of a nut. Then we can set this back in there with the guide wire or the connecting wire on the outside, and it will be a washer and the lock nut. We'll have to tighten these back up, and we'll be right as rain again. Be able to mount this and work on the rest of our wiring, and hopefully we'll be able to get back up and running soon. Okay. So that's mounted on there, nice and rigid. Our pen's back to where it should be. Now I'm going to take this and we're going to mount this back on here. We'll just line it up and we'll use the countersunk screws that we had before, preferably without dumping it in the fan. Oh, breaky, breaky. Once again, I could probably do the other duct down the road, but right now I think I'm getting plenty of cooling with this double duct or this single duct. And I might have to mess with that other one because I'm not sure. I mean, I did print it out. I'm just not sure if it would mount low enough. Let's check. Let's check and see if it will mount low enough, because it looks like it's using a different, um, a lower hot end. That makes sense. Let me just grab the other duct here and just line it up on the part. So we got the Y-end stop pieces if we decide to go that route. This is the CR touch mount that will mount in the center. And then this is the duct for the dual fans. See if I can just get off the supports. They'll play nicely and come off. Kind of like the bamboo tree supports. They normally pop off so easily. Oh, come on. First I say that, and then it's the ones that are right at the duct lip here that's going to be pain. Okay, so with that done, top side, that would go there and this would go through here. Yeah, that would be too high. So that would be using a different hot or actual heat break configuration. This would be used for the typical one. So if you have the H2 V2S, this dual 5015 would work. Because I've got the light, this would have to be modified a little bit to work with the V2S Lite. So is an option. This would probably work on the Revo as well. If Rittenhouse is here and listening, that might work well on the H2 Revo edition one. But does not work for me. And once again, it's got the piece here that'll work with the the BIQU version of the micro probe, and it won't work distance wise for the BL Touch. We'll set that over there and we'll go ahead and get this back on there. All right, Roll Nomi, have a good one. Get some rest here. You have to talk to Maker sweetly and get him to do it for you, Bexy. Uh-oh, what do you need, Bexy? I missed something. Hey, cruising girl, how's it going? Normally what I do now, but sometimes he's sleeping. What are you looking for, Bexy? Oh, hey, Death Ray, how's it going? The thermal paste stays well when heated. It does, and as well. So, like, if you really want to, I'll say, do it right. Go get boride nitride, because it'll actually semi-harden on the in there and hold that bead thermistor in. That's what whatchamacallit uses. Yeah, this was actually a little bit warmer than I thought it was. There we go. Using mouse ears, so you got to be careful if the mouse ears don't come off, especially when you're doing black on black, because if you're not paying attention, you'll leave a mouse ear on there and it'll foul the next print up. but I'll show you all what I was working on here today. Okay, first off, let me just get the next print started over here. Before we do that, let me slide this in here. We'll see if this now works better. And the initial answer is yes. So I'm going to go to some FEP wire here, and this will secure down right there, front and back. Oh, wait, no, that's, why is my front and back distance wrong here? It should be another 20 millimeters, like it should be like that. So I screwed that up again. I'm 20 millimeters off in that direction. Rut-row, raggy, sketch. Let's look at sketch. Okay, we are, because the box was 125, we added 20, which would have made it 145. Oh, that's why, because the rear needs, I made the rear 145 as well. It needs to be 165 because it's got the front and the rear to cover. Ay, ay, ay. So, oh, don't do that. Down here, do this, do that. So if I just change this, we should be good. So that's 145. I need to make this 165. Yes, everything else changed. Good, 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 good. Other than some things overlapping. Is there a way of like repositioning this? Does anybody know? I don't know, but this is what I need to do is make that 165. Ooh. But now this is not in the right place. So 165, half of 165. Well, this needs to move. That's what. Where's the. Pretty close. That's going to be close enough for government work, right? Come on now. What am I trying to do? I want this to be centered. Be centered. Oh. Ay, ay, ay. So I did my um 2 sets of my holes I did based on just mirroring a center line. I have a feeling based on what's going on here. Oh. What I'm trying to do is figure out where the center line is. I'm still a little bit low. Pretty close. Close enough at least. Okay, so that should get my reference holes. So these 2 holes down here are close enough that if I need to, I can drill them out some. So, hey, Cruising Girl, how's it going? Hey, Pez Liz. Got TPU, you just need to get the test done. All right. So this is now working well. I just need to add another 20 millimeters to the overall depth because I forgot to account for the 20 millimeter on the outside of the rear. So the front, this would fit perfect in the front and line up with the front and 20 millimeters into here. So that's good. And that'll work with the other piece that I needed to print out. This, however, needs to be redone. So we save this. We toss yet another plate over there in the bin. Sure. We finish the sketch. Save. Yes. Go here. We're going to need to export. Select that one. Say OK. Cancel that. Go back and edit the sketch again. Yeah, 30 and 30. That'll be good. Save that update. Now do make, select that, OK. Good name, going to download, save, yes, overwrite. Bring up Orca Slicer. Prepare, delete that. Open that back up. Slice plate. Upload and print. All right. Like the fourth iteration of this plate where I keep doing things. Like I did it once and I just did a hole and I'm like, that was a dumb move because while I could put wires down through a hole, how do I then put the wires into the Wago connectors, right? So I need to get the wires in the Wago connector and then slide the plate over. So I need a gap over here where I can run my wires in. So we'll do that. It's one of those things you don't realize it until you go to put it in place, and then you go, oh, yeah, about that. So, where were we? Hero a Twitch, Hero X, Twitch Troll. How's it going? Welcome on in. Sorry, I got distracted there and had to recad something, so I apologize. Hey, Chaos Trucker, welcome in. Thank you for the raid with 73 viewers. You raided, and I was doing my typical thing of getting squirreled out and not paying attention. So if you guys stuck around, thank you all for the raid, Chaos Trucker, and welcome on in, everybody. My name's Digital Dragon. I am a 3D printing variety streamer here on Twitch. That means that we do everything from unboxings like our X1 carbons and our Creality K1C here to full up printer builds like the Vorons over here, an LH Stinger, and the EnderXY that we've been working on, trying to make it more useful, and then fix things that break on it. But welcome on in, everybody. Welcome on in. We had a raid. Extra beans built over bot. You got Prusament today. That's cool, Cruiser Girl. Prusament's really good. It's expensive. It's expensive filament and it's expensive to ship, but it prints beautifully. So, that he would, Cruising Girl. He really would. The Galaxy Black is very pretty. Yes, it is. That's what got me started on like glittery, flecky blacks. Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. So, for those of you that just joined and may still be in here, what we've had to do to this is do some additional mods beyond just the conversion kit. So this is a kit made by Additiva 3D that uses a lot of CNC parts to convert an Ender 3 into a Core XY printer. Now, the problems that we had with the printer was with the rails on the front and the lead screws here, the bed tended to wobble front to back as it went up and down. So trying to keep a level bed was very hard. And so we did this triple lead screw mod. Now I could have left the metal CNC plates here, but I really like the looks of these arms. So we printed those out. We got the rear plate printed out, and we've added the triple lead screw into the back. Now, in order to handle that triple lead screw, we then needed to do a board swap. So what we did when we did the board swap was I'll side away because that's not useless. I went with an octopus. Well, why would I go with an octopus? Well, it was left over. We recently took this out of a Voron 2.4 and we put in a Leviathan board and a Nighthawk Stealth Burner board on that printer. So we needed 6 drivers. I didn't have a 6-driver board other than this. Yes, a Manta M8P would have been good because it would have just been an all-in-one solution. But we've got an octopus here, and this is a Big Tree Tech Pi 1.2 board. So this is their version of a Raspberry Pi, and everything's up and running. We just been making some mods. So we custom padded up these solutions. This has a fully enclosed tunnel that goes through the 4040 to protect it from the sharp edges like we see here. That's why there's no wires going through this area. Everything is being routed down and through this channel. Let's see. We decided we needed some airflow, so we have a cutout here, and I need to add a 4010 fan back here. And this is going to be blowing down towards the bottom. And then on the front cover that comes over here, right about in this area, is going to be a 4010 fan that's hanging down off the deck panel that's blowing straight down on this chip and will blow down into this area and get sucked out through the rear area. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing. It's already got clipper. It was printing. It's just, we printed something. We printed a Benchy. I printed off this keychain that I took to Evil Diesel's daughter last Friday, and I started to do a plate of those keychains, and that's where it failed overnight. And when it failed, we actually snapped the heat break. So we had to basically take everything apart. I went and used the different mount. The mount that's on here now is designed for the BIQU H2 V2S, and the fan duct is made for a dual 5015 fan duct for it, but it won't fit on the extruder that I have here, which is the H2 V2S Lite, which uses a different heat break, heat block setup. This is more of a, like their version, an M4 version of a Volcano versus a standard nozzle. So it comes down a little bit more. So we have to go back and we'll reuse the 5015 fan duct that we had in here. And we just need to get everything wired back up is kind of where we're at now. So we'll need to get our 5015 fan laid in here as well. And this was the, well, this might have been what the 20 millimeter screws were for. These work. That's kind of where we're at with everything now. I'm just trying to get everything basically put back together so that we can continue to try and put some time on this printer. Well, I know Printed Solid ships to Canada. Are they going to have a Canada like shipping option, or not a shipping option, but a distribution option in Canada, Cruising Girl? Hey, Tank Live, how's it going? Yeah, well, and that's what I was saying is I almost have to buy like a case of filament to make the shipping from Prague worth it. Yeah, free roll and $15 in shipping. Yep. Yeah, so Marlin, RepRap firmware, and Clipper, all three of them. I mean, Core XY is a standard kinematic. They all support it. So before we were coming straight up, this one almost has a, it's like everything gets routed up around and then it'll come out kind of at the back here and come over. So we'll have a little slightly different take on our umbilical once we get it there. I have this extension we'll add here for the thermistor. And I need to still find the, what we got here. This is the end stop that I was looking for. And the one marked XE would be the end that's at the octopus board side. So this would come over here and plug in here. So I think these two things are designed to come this way and then pop back up and around. This will be the first half. Plugs in over here. And we're at a point where I need to start doing some zip ties. So let me put this away. Clean it off first. Me and this spool up here are going to have issues. Retry. Anybody ever get spools that just seem to like drag in the AMS for whatever reason? Okay, what was I doing? I was putting this up so I can get to the thin zip ties that I have up here on the desk, or on my portable desk. Sorry there. Like I said, I'm getting distracted. Kind of the way I've been lately. Zip tie. Yeah. Cruising Girl, I still need to send you something. If you want me to send it to a friend, then let me know. Otherwise, I will plan on shipping it directly up to you like we were planning originally. So once again, we're going to, tie these in here. It's going to provide a little bit of strain relief, but you don't want to like make the wires too taut when you do this, because otherwise you're just kind of negating the reason for doing strain relief and you're putting too much tension on them. And I would flip this around and kind of try and show you what I'm doing, but I've got this whole set of wires hanging out the back of the workbench right now. What is going on? Why are you not going through? Whatever reason, that one seems to be closed up. See if this one. This thing decided to try and put the ports into the wire tie channels. That's always a smart thing to do. Damn it. All right, I am going to have to turn this at least somewhat. Oh, what am I catching on? Power cable that's still plugged in. That is off. Bum, bum, bum. Again, especially on the motor wire, you need to be careful that you're not pulling it too tight. Like you might want to be able to undo the motor wire from this end without having to take everything off. So everything bundled up that way. Got 2 more spots to run some of our cable ties through, and that's going to give us, let's go ahead and wrap our cables, and then we'll run those other 2 cable ties. We'll go ahead and wrap this some, and then we'll come back and continue to cable tie that down, because that will give us the ability to wrap or tie it down, tie the wrap itself down. If I could speak English. Yeah, it's pretty small. It's pretty small. It's just a small box. And I should be able to put a label directly on it. So I'll just tape up the edges and put a label directly on top of the box to ship it to you. And yeah, that'll be no problem. I'll work on getting that ready to ship out here so that when I go to the office, probably Thursday, I can either I can drop it off, or if I do pirate ship and have it already paid for, I'll just have Mrs. Dragon drop it off at the mailbox. All right, that gets us started. Be able to come down here now and wrap a couple of zip ties on it. I'll have to see how that works out, but now we'll just keep wrapping this. If I just get my thumb kind of stuck in at the top, then I can kind of just open it up and push everything down through there as I go. Normally. So I did get another request from somebody on the YouTube feeds about the Lemontron and whether or not I would build one of those. I'm not fully sold on it. It's basically a self-source version of a positron, and I don't know. That's a lot to self-source. And I really like the positron option because, well, you don't have to self-source anything. It's boom, it's there, it's ready, and it works. So I'm not 100% sure if I'd be willing to do a Lemontron. I may be willing to do a EnderXY build. I'd have to see what all that entails as far as, additions above and beyond to get that going. But I'll watch Armored Turtle 3D's YouTubes on that to see what he's winding up having to do to make that work. At some point, we will get a tiny maker. You know what that is? Then great. If not, you will find out eventually. And an Anycubic Cobra S1 with Ace Pro. So come on. Here we go. Okay. So there we go. Loop this around here to the back again. And we'll have to all the way to the side, all the way to the front. Why on this? Basically, all I'm trying to do is just move it around and see if that's going to cause us any issues. That looks to be pretty good. And I'll want to use one of my thicker ones here since I've got a bigger bundle of cables. Okay, come on now. Let's see. I think it's the Anycubic. Yeah, it's the Anycubic spool that's just giving me a hard time over there. Don't know why. Rather annoying. And I'm going to kind of take my time feeding this stuff through one at a time. Should make it easier and hopefully keep me from tangling things up. That's a long one. A long one. Damn you. Yeah. Yeah. Figures I get one of the darn things wrapped through there. Zip tied at that end, low on this. And I did put some of our lubricant on the lead screw in the back that was probably drier than it should have been. So This was exactly what I was trying to prevent, and I didn't prevent it. Hey, Stay Creeping, how's it going? Welcome in, welcome in. I promise I am trying to stay awake with chat and stay up to date with chat, talking with everybody. The question is if I'm doing a good job, and the answer to that is probably no still, but I'm trying. I am trying. Just a little bit difficult when you're also trying to shove wires through a wire trough and not get them all tangled up, which apparently is not going to happen. But what the hell? We'll give it the best shot we can. Almost, almost. Right over here. And like just do what I should have done to start with, and that's get those out of there, run this through. All right. There's one set of bundles through. Next, we need to get our motor wires through. And what do we got? We need B and Z0. Got B, then A. Here's B, here's A. Z0. Skip one, go Z0. So the third and fourth plug on most of your boards will be in parallel. It's normally made to do a dual Z screw setup in parallel, so one driver driving two motors. So it does not, you can go into either one. Normally what we do on Vorons is we just skip one That way you have the B and A, and then all your Z's are right next to each other. Z2, this is Z1. So left front, right, or left front, rear center. And then Z2 is front right. And then if we followed the true Voron spec, the next motor would be left open because that would be Z4 on a 2.4, and then your extruder would be in the 7th motor slot. But like this and like that. Grab one of these and through there. And we're not going to grab the motor wires. We're going to grab all the other wires. Grab all the other wires, Luke, to include the one that you just left out. Stick. How's it going, Ash? Do they have a printer profile for the SVO7 in Orca? Probably. Give me a second. We'll double check. I don't see why they wouldn't, but we'll check real fast here. Okay. So we've got that zip tied there. Before I do the other one, I just want to make sure we can get everything up front here wired in. So we've got our extruder motor wire. So this is going to come over here and plug into that next open slot. I would want to feed these back through here now. The longest one, and we go positive, negative, positive, we'll go there. Here we'll go there. And we keep going. It's positive, negative, positive, negative. So next one up would be a positive. Negative. So I don't know if it's just that they're too tightly wound or what. As to why they keep yeah, as to why it keeps kind of jumping out off of the thingamajobber there. But it's pretty annoying regardless. Okay, we gotta get our last two through here. And that one. And positive, then negative. Okay, so we're getting all of our wires plugged in again. We're going to try and get all of our motor wires kind of settled over here and pushed down in the back a little bit. We've got the heater wires right here, so we'll pull those out. These will be the bed wires. It'll go back towards the back. These are going to come around and go into these first two slots here, and I need to get you guys over here so you can see what I'm doing. Do I have... I think what I could probably set you guys on so that you can see what I'm working on here. One, two, three blocks. They always work. So we just wired in all of our power plugs again. So those are all wired in. This is going to be our bed that we'll route back through. We've got all of our motors in, and our hot end wires are going in this first set of wires here. So let me try and set you. Okay. Darn it. Need to get you at a bit of an angle, and that's not tall enough. So there you go. Now you can see a little bit of what I'm doing. So we need to unscrew these terminals. And we're going to just come in here and might have to fiddle a bit to get it in there, make sure we're in that hole fully, and then we'll tighten it down. Give it a little yank and crank and make sure that you can, well, yank and crank on it. Then you'll have to wiggle and angle in the next one. There we go. I kind of feel like doing it the way that we just did it. We got a little bit more room on our wires here, so that's kind of good. So we've got that. untangle these other wires. Okay, what all do we have here? We've got the XE or X end stop. So that is a 3-pin. That's going to go, we are X men. So we should go to the front here, but I think we always go over to that one is the one we set up in, I believe. 2-pin, 2-pin. Fear gauge goes to the, well, I think that one is the, I think this one is the second fan and the other one's the first fan, I believe. If not, it'll be an easy swap over. And I think this should be part cooling, and then hot end is the way the cables go. Now, whether or not those are the actual right cables in the right slots, we'll find out once we turn a fan on. If it turns the wrong fan on, then we know we have to adjust. Okay, this is our hot end thermistor. So this is going to go on the second thermistor port here. The first thermistor port will be for the bed. And once again, this is going to be a little bit longer because when I did this the last time, we had this part of the wiring loom was kind of right here in the middle of the tunnel. So we've probably gained 2 or 3 inches with the way we're routing our wiring now. So that gives us plenty of excess room in here for the wires. And then this one here is the whatchamacallit, our BL Touch. And this is also going to be quite long. Now, the way this one works is you've got your 5 wires there. The white one should be facing the front of the board with the way that this is laid out here. And I'm going to have to put that on there and then put a light on there to make sure I got that in the right there we go. So the BL Touch goes right here. There's a black JST connector right behind it. It's like a 5-pin JST connector. That's the TFT screen. This is a specific 2x5 port, or 2x5, 2x5 wire block, DuPont block for the Raspberry Pi. So the front 2 are 5 volt, the middle 6 are grounds, and then this is your transmit and receive. So the only difference is 5 volt and ground go to the 5 volt and ground, and then your transmit and receive gets reversed when it connects to the opposite end. Now, we're obviously going to have some excess cable in here now. I can probably cut and make this extension shorter for both of these wires actually, but I'm kind of not wanting to if I don't have to. If that makes sense, because I want to, I don't know, they were from the factory that way, and if I need to cut them, I will, but I prefer not to have to cut them at this juncture. Now we still have one other wire here. This gets fed up through a hole in the bottom of the printer, or in the bottom of the rear box here. just like that. I'll feed it through the tunnel beside our big wire loom. It is. And this is the Y end stop. So Mike, this is the Y end stop. Why is it not a 3-banger? Because I need to do this little pigtail extension. So this took it from a 2-wire to a 3-wire. And so that's X, this will be Y. Put it in the right direction and it works well. We're basically going to have to train these wires. I may come back in here later on and clean these wires up and just shorten them again. I'm just trying to not do that just yet. Partly because I want to make sure that everything is working right before I do that. It's always easier to make wires shorter than longer. Now to see if I can get these two pushed through. Once again, the red and the blue wire here are the bed heater wires. And the red was going to the red, the blue was going to the black because blue would be cold. And eventually, I will rewire this up and probably direct connect this versus just using the Wago connectors to connect it. Right now, we're just using the Wagos to make it easier, make sure that everything is working before we go ahead and button things down. Good way of testing things. Okay, so everything is currently connected except for the bed thermistor, which is, I believe, this next connection that we're going to run around through here. So I need to see if I can't get this pushed back through here with all the other wires. Starting to get a bit tight. Open, yep, here. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? I miss you so. There we go. Seems like forever since you've been gone. So this is the heat bed thermistor. So we'll just plug that in and we'll plug it into the 2-wire heat bed thermistor over here. And there you go. We've now got our heat bed connections done up as well. And once again, semi-temporary, we're either going to mount Wagos underneath here somehow so that we can do a direct connect from the bed to the Wagos. And then from here, we'll leave a service loop down. Or I'm basically going to cut this off, solder these wires up, and just make one final pigtail out of it. So we've got our power over here. So that power distro is set up. I need to fish this back through, and this should be the last set of wires that need to go through here. So hopefully I can get this connector back through there. Okay. And once again, let me apply some light to make sure that I've got that connection on correctly. And I do. So once again, for now, when I go to put the cover on, I'll just kind of push these down, slide the wires over and through. Or I mean, just push the wires down, slide the cover over, and there should be a fan right here in this area. So I'm going to leave the ability to put a fan right here blowing down, and all my wires are running here and here. So that should work nicely to keep things cool, hopefully. And then once again, we'll have a fan here in the back that's blowing down that we'll route back up and plug in. We got about 7 or 8 fan ports up here we can still use. So we're good there. Anything else? I'm going to flip some zip ties. Without clipping a wire, because that would just stuck at this point. Now, I had a zip tie here that I did clip. Now I can go through and put another zip tie right here and kind of zip tie everything together. I'm not going to just yet. I will work on adding the fans a little bit later. But I think right now what I want to do is plug her up and see if we can make her work again, or if we get sparks or what we get. Please no sparks. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and we're back on. Hey Jerry, how are you today? We did get a good self-test out of our BL Touch. It did its little up, down, up, down. We need to put our bed back on there. And everything should still work. We needed to check our fans to see if we have fans plugged into the right ports. If not, we'll have to swap those around. Sorry for my reach here, folks. That there, this here, these two things over here and out of the way. Okay, so let's go into the web. Not the web, but the we'll go into the web browser, and you can see there in the thing that I'm bringing up this printer, provided it comes up for me. We're not ready. Never disconnected this side. That's good. There's the thing. Minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, plus, minus. Going to the bed. Plus, minus, yep. All these are connected. Motors are connected. Thermistors are both connected. End stops are connected. What's going on? Why are we not getting there? You want to check one thing, possibly. Actually, I can do that the other way. Why are you not talking? Hey, Pezliz. Right, so not sure why we're not getting communication with the octopus. We've got power, we've got lights on everything. We're going to try and do a restart. Maybe it was just a timing error between the two. Come on, you can do it. Ay, 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 ay. All right, let's go back and triple check. We've got all of our power cables plugged in, zip tied so that they're nice and kept out of the way. Power connections are good. We've got bed, we've got thermistors, fans, BL touch, end stops. All of our stepper driver wires are in. Why are we not talking to the board? Kind of makes me feel like it's something on the Pi side of things. So let me go full screen here so you can see what I'm doing. Because what's going on is I'm just getting it's not talking between the Pi and the boards. So we're going to try and SSH in. And see what we got here. IP address is the same. That's good. Memory usage, CPU, temp, everything's good there. None of my wires seem loose. So, what I want to try and do. So we've got ETY S0. I believe that's what we're set up to use. MCU unable to connect. Dev TTY S0. We did set it at 2500 baud. Be about just commenting that out. You just resub with Prime, but it's not showing up. Well, thank you, Jerry, for resubbing. I appreciate that. So what we're working on here today is the EnderXY. We had added the triple lead screw mod to the back here. And because we now have 3 lead screws and they're all independently driven, so we can do Z-tilt adjust like a Voron Trident, we needed 6 drivers. So we've got a Big Tree Tech Octopus board installed here, and we're pulling 24 volts from the standard Creality power supply, and it's a board powered 24 volt, standard Creality bed. We've got some nice printed parts here versus the CNC metal parts, because what was happening was the bed was flopping front to back as we were going up and down. So it was hard to keep level. So we got this squared away. We got it printing, and then we snapped the heat break. So I had to order some parts. We got a new heat break. I got 2 heat breaks and a spare heat block. So right now we're all wired back up. I had to replace the pin on the BL Touch because we snapped that pin trying to get the PLA off of it. Now we have everything wired back up. We actually changed the MGN12 carriage because the other one was really loose. I think it was missing some balls. So we changed the carriage, and we changed the actual mount that we're using because there was a different mount that I was able to find. So now what I'm trying to do is just get it back going. Everything should be plugged in the exact same way that it was, which is kind of befuddling me why it's not talking, because we're using the same connection here. The connection never changed. We double, triple, quadruple check that I'm plugged into the right pins here. Oop. Figured out the issue. One of my UART pins pulled out of the connector back here. So that would cause a communication error because it can't talk in one of the directions. So you need to pull this out and reseat the blue pin. Don't know how that got undone. That must have got undone when I was trying to pull it out earlier. All right, darn it. Okay. All those pins are in and seated. So now let's see if that fixes the problem. And once again, we did just verify that our BL Touch is good because it did its self-test, so that's good. Once this comes up, we'll be able to do, come on. There we go. Okay, so Big Tree Tech Pi talking to a Big Tree Tech Octopus board. We're back in business. We're getting temps from everything, and the temps seem to be right the same between the heater and the extruder, so that's good. If we heat this up, the part cooling fan just came on, so that's bad. That means that our fans are plugged in reverse. So we need to shut down. We'll kill power. And we just need to swap the two fan connectors here. So the position of the two fan connectors. So to do this, because this is a real custom setup now, there is no enclosure for any of the electronics down here. So we had to CAD up these enclosures, and the front enclosure, let me bring you guys back around here while I power this up and start getting things alive. So the front enclosure, it's a 250 by 125 box. We added some mounting holes. There's one on the front on each side and two in the back. So that allows us to mount the box. We've got lugs here for M3 heat set inserts in the bottom. Those worked out perfectly. And then this tunnel where all the wiring's coming through. This is a CNC milled tunnel, very similar to this one, which is where your Y axis would normally sit. These are pretty sharp. You don't want bare wires running through here. That's why I'm not running wires through this one. If you can see down here, we actually created a 40 millimeter long tunnel. So this whole area underneath this extrusion is fully enclosed with a 3 millimeter wall. Then on the rear here, we need to have a cutout to go around the motor mount. We needed a hole right over here that we could run up some wires. And then we just did a cutout right here to enable us to be, if we need to drop this thing down out of the bottom with the minimum amount of wires to be removed. We did make a provision here for a fan, so I will be adding a 40/40 fan here, and it's going to be blowing down and out. And then on the top cover, I did a two-piece top cover. So one will go in the back, and then one will slide in here underneath these motors, and we'll have a screw hole, screw to hold that in place. And it's going to have a 4010 fan blowing down right here on top of the chip. So that way we'll have inbound air here, outbound air out the back. And on top of, or between the fan and this this top piece, I'm going to put some like nylon stocking material just to add a filter so that nothing can fall down in that fan and get caught in the fan and cause an error. It's 2 a.m., so you think you're going to try and get to sleep, or at least browse Reddit until I distract myself enough to go to sleep. Don't browse Reddit, just close everything down and go to bed. That will work better, Bexy, than staring at the screen, trust me. But thank you for being here, Bexy. I appreciate it. Big hearts. Big hearts. Whoops, big hearts. K2 in the his house. How's it going, K2? We're on iteration like 4. It's weird. This one worked first time like a charm, fit like a glove. It was beauty incarnate. The rear one, we've iterated on. It worked, right? We made some additional improvements. We added the fan. Otherwise, the original one worked. the tops, I'm working on like the 4th iteration of the slide-in printed front and back top covers. It's driving me batty. Doing winter now that you get to see me, Kevin. Kevin, you're gonna make me blush. Don't do that. Okay, so we flipped the fan around. So now if I tell this to go up to like 60, the hot end fan over here came on. So that's good. That means that part's working. If I come down here and turn my part cooling fan on, my part cooling fan's working. So that's good. I'll wire my controller fans up off the and do a multi-pin thing, so that'll work. We need to come over here and check our end stops. So right now, X and Y are triggered because they're both literally triggered. So I'm going to push that back a bit, and only X should still be triggered. I'll move this over, and nothing is triggered right now. So we should be good. And we're going to send it. Home all, bag drops, does X, does Y, goes to the middle of the build plate, thereabouts, drops the pin, and get my finger next to that emergency stop in case something goes on with the BL Touch. And that worked. Now if we do a Z tilt, it will check all 3 sides and it'll flatten out our bag, because I'm pretty sure since I was manually moving them that they're not in the appropriate spot. So we're actually hitting the rear with the extruder now. Interesting. My gantry's racked. That would be why too. Didn't even think about squaring up the gantry. Duh. He is a flirt, Pez. All right, let's see if we get there or if it fails trying. Hey, we got there. Good. So now I need to kill all of my motors and slowly move this all the way to the back so we don't backfeed. And there's a reason, because this side is now bottomed out. This side, which you can't tell, I probably have 1/8 of an inch easily. So tighten this, it moves this side forward. I'll say better. The other thing that you may notice here, and I'll point it out to you. Here, my whatchamacallits, my anti-backlash nuts are down. In the rear, sorry, my anti-backlash nut, oh, darn it, cable, work with me. Trying to figure out a way of showing you. Sorry, folks. My anti-backlash nut is at the top. And it was just the way that this part would mount. And because of that, I mean, technically, I think I can flip that piece over. God, I don't want to do that. I won't do that on stream. But it gets real close to bottoming out the top and the back is where I was trying to go with that. After taking you guys on a field trip of pain, how many of you did I make sick? Because I about made myself sick. You're off to bed, Westbury? Okay, have a good night. So far, this is looking good. I think we're back. Now, before I go too much further, there's a couple of things I want to do. One will be to add a mount over here on the back side, on the back left, just for a reverse Bowden tube, right? And then I need to figure out a better spool holder, because having this come off the back side with a spool holder and then running a spool, it doesn't work, right? I'll just put it that way. It doesn't work. Even if I run it off the back this way, spool holder this way, it's still a bit too much. I think what I want to do is create a mount that goes between these two side rails that I can put a spool holder on, or create a cat up a spool holder that'll work between those mounts. And I think that's how I want to run the spool, because that way it'll be on the side. Tuck it in as close as I can. So that'll be the next thing. I didn't see anything here in the EnderXY on printables. We got the triple lead screw. There is an Ender base here, but this is using basically a Big Tree Tech SKR Mini E3 V3. A brace, another bed wobble, begone issue, rear cable guide, which we don't need because we're running it straight down off the triple lead screw side. Better belt tensioners, end stop fix, back plate, blah, blah, blah. Basically, there's nothing here about spool holder. And on the generic EnderXY, you would have it would be a Bowden setup over here on the left, on the back left of the printer. So I really need to, just find a good idea for a spool holder, or maybe search some other sites to try and find a better spool holder. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I need to do. But for right now, we're back up and running. Things appear to be working. Stuff powers on. We're communicating. We're good here. The next step, I'm printing out the covers. I'll need to add the fans and I do have 24-volt dual ball bearing Winson fans here. So I'll have fans that I can put at the bottom and one on the top plate. And then I need to figure out the Bowden tube aspect. At the very least, we can always run the spool like we did before, just on a desktop spool holder on the back here, for the time being, to get our next test print done. So I think that's kind of where we're at for now. It is 9:30. I need to get in bed. I've been fighting off a cold, and that's not the screen I wanted. This is the screen I wanted. I've been fighting off a cold, so I am trying to get some sleep, take some medicine, and get some sleep. I got to keep going in and out of work the next couple of days. So I am going to call the stream here. Thank you very much for everybody that came out tonight and hung out with me. There will be at least one more stream with this on the bench, provided Thursday we can get some stuff done. I plan on getting the 2 fans ready to go beforehand and test fitting the deck panels. And then, yeah, I'll figure out just a reverse Bowden mount that goes up here so we can run our Bowden tube over. And that'll give us the ability to start at least printing. And I'm going to snooze that ad because we're going to get out of here before that ad starts again. And let's figure out where we can go for a raid this evening. Okay. I see Big Jano. Big Jano should be doing marbles at some point tonight. He's not working on any right now. Let's take a look at what Jano's doing. Yeah, still kind of working on that new board that he's got going on. He sent me all the information for it. I'm going to try and help him out on that. But thanks everybody for being here. You guys have a great night. Thanks for being here. And I will see you guys on Thursday. Stay safe, stay warm. If you're sick, I hope you feel better soon. Like I hope I feel better soon. You guys have a great night. Bye now. And if you're catching this later on YouTube, please like and subscribe down below. Be sure to check that bell so that you get notified when new content's posted. I've got several videos that's dropping pretty much every day this week from my Twitch streams. And over here, YouTube should be recommending another video for you. Have a great night all. Bye now.